Good morning. It is Thursday, June 10th, 2021, and this is your gaming morning show, Morning Gaming News. We got some information on GameStop. We've talked about GameStop off and on quite a bit, and how they're kind of pivoting towards online sales. They've made a lot of hires in the past that include people that have kind of done this for other companies or been successful at mostly e-commerce type companies. Well, that is continuing with 2 new hires this week, I guess. I don't know when both of these happen. Anyways, 2 new hires recently for GameStop. The first one being Matt Furlong, who's a former head at Amazon. Furlong joins GameStop after 2 years as a country leader for Amazon Australia, and a total of nearly 8 years with Amazon in various leadership roles. So yet again, another higher up coming on to GameStop who has some solid experience in the e-commerce world. And then they also tapped Mike Recupero as its new CFO. He also joins from Amazon, having worked there 17 years in various positions in different regions and departments, most recently as Amazon's CFO of European consumer business. So both Furlong and Recupero bring some good, solid e-commerce experience to the company. And it also comes along with GameStop's reporting of its first quarter financial results, in which it saw net sales increase 25% to $1.3 billion and an overall net loss of $66.8 million compared to the net loss of $165.7 million in Q1 of last year. So they still have some work to do, but heading in the right direction. So what are your thoughts on GameStop? Would you still want to go to the brick and mortar stores, or are you perfectly okay with it kind of developing into an online only business?
That's a great question, and I'm going to answer it. Okay, but and I'm not asking this only because you didn't get the name on the first try. But what was the second name that you mentioned?
Recupero.
Okay, so do you think they hired Recupero to help recoup some losses?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they did. Okay, that's exactly what they did. Yeah, Ryan, were you listening to the story?
That's pretty spot on. Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I have no problem with online shopping, even for clothes. The only downside I have for online shopping with clothes is the return side of things, because I realize that that's a little bit more of a environmental impact thing, right? Obviously, if you ship me clothes, okay, well, those clothes would have already been shipped to the store, okay, and I'm sure there's ways to improve that process that I'm not even thinking of. But then now that they're at my house and they don't fit, then I have to have those shipped back to you, and that's that extra step that maybe isn't already in that chain. So when I think of it like how to make it easier on the amount of trucks on the road and, you know, trains going, all that stuff, right? Like, I'm a big fan of e-shopping because I think it cuts out that middle point. But I also don't love going to retail stores anyway. I don't need that tactile touching of things and whatnot. So I'm probably not your best person to ask about brick and mortar.
Yeah. And I don't think I'd miss them either. I'm kind of with Papa Paws. I don't really ever shop at GameStop, and I haven't for years. And there's a part of me that the nostalgia of like going to a store and looking at video game stuff, it's in there somewhere. But thinking back to like what would trigger that nostalgia, it's not going to like a GameStop type store. It's going to like a video game section in a larger store.
Yeah.
You know, like Toys R Us back in the day. Like that's what I think is lingering around in my head. So I think them transitioning to online only is perfect, especially since the last couple times I've been in a GameStop, which has been years. Like, it was a pretty sad place.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't like the top of the line shopping experience. And I don't know if it ever was, but it sure wasn't the last couple times I was there.
Yeah,
so I think this move makes sense.
And if I'm looking for an experience from a retail store, I want it to be just that. Like, I remember seeing commercials for like Capital One's banking locations that they have, and they turn them into like more of cafes, right? So they're a coffee shop. Again, I'm just going off what I saw on TV commercials, so it could be completely false. But if that's true, like, if you could go to a major banking branch and it's also like a coffee shop cafe thing, like, that wouldn't be half bad. And I wouldn't mind that from a GameStop thing where you could go in. Maybe they set up I don't know, LAN parties again or something like. I don't know, something that was unique and fun and an experience. The old retail store, and maybe it's because I worked in retail for a while. I don't think I'm looking for that anymore.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm fully on board with going more digital only for video games. I don't need a million discs. Speaking of things that make sense, guess what's finally getting crossplay?
Super Mario Brothers.
No.
I yield the floor.
Overwatch is finally getting crossplay. Prior to this popping up, if you had just asked me, hey, does Overwatch have crossplay? I'd be like, of course Overwatch has crossplay. Why wouldn't it have crossplay? But apparently Overwatch did not have crossplay. The long requested update that will enable multiplayer between Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Windows PC, and Xbox One is coming. It should be out already. I don't know. There's all kinds of dates in here that don't make sense. So it should be coming soon, if not out already. So obviously this is going to be huge for the Overwatch community, especially, you know, if you have friends that play Overwatch and haven't been able to play together because you play on PC, they play on PlayStation, and now you can play together, and that's great.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. If you had told me, hey, how do you like the crossplay on Overwatch? I wouldn't have even batted an eye. I've been like, oh, I absolutely love it. It's great, that crossplay. That's definitely there.
It's amazing. But it's good that it's there now. So it's going to be available in all Overwatch game modes, but Blizzard is limiting how crossplay works in the game's competitive mode. Players on console will be matched with each other, while PC players will only be matched with other PC players when playing competitive mode. Overwatch players will be able to opt out of crossplay, but they'll only be matched with other players who have opted out as well, decreasing the pool of available matches. Cool. Oh, and the beta for that will launch, quote, soon.
Nice.
So, speaking of things that have... no. Speaking of video games. The old standby. A classic, one of the greatest, one everyone should have in their house. The arcade game for The Simpsons is being re-released by Arcade1Up, which it just looks. You should just go to the link and look at it. It's beautiful. It's so pretty. I would have this in my house for sure. The Simpsons arcade machine coming soon. Arcade1Up has enabled game room enthusiasts to build mini arcades in their homes with a line of classic machines devoted to some of the most beloved quarter-munching games of all time. The company's already offered cabinets ranging from Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter to NBA Jam and Mrs. Pac-Man, but today they announced the beloved Konami brawler, The Simpsons.
It had to be the same engine as what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games were built on, right? Looked like the same exact concept.
It's very similar. Yeah.
But yesterday you had something else that was from Game Informer, and as I was scrolling through Twitter to send that out for the hashtag GMS Gaming Morning, GMS Morning Gaming News, I saw that and I was like, oh, because I have fond memories of that game. Because when I was a kid, we had a thing that we'd go to every summer that was mostly for my parents, and I would just hang out in the arcade. And this game I played like one whole summer. Dude, that was the only game I played. It was great. So I have fond memories.
Nice. Yeah, it's a fun game. It would be if you gave me the Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet and the Simpsons arcade cabinet and said I had to pick one, I'd have a hard time picking between the two because they're both pretty solid. What's cool about this cabinet, other than it just being amazing, if you don't have three friends wanting to jump into the game at your house, the cabinet also utilizes Arcade1Up's Wi-Fi system, so you can join up with players who own the machine across the globe. So that's pretty cool. This cabinet is going to be about 60 inches tall and weighs just over 100 pounds and available for $599.99. So check it out if you're a fan of arcade cabinets. I don't think I'm going to be heading this direction for arcade cabinets, but for sure at some point we're going to have a pinball machine. that'll be great. And always last but never least, we finish off today's Gaming Morning Show Morning Gaming News with the world-renowned segment within a segment where we take a look at what is out today. We have Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade out on PlayStation 5. This is just the Final Fantasy VII Remake, the PlayStation 5 version. So it's the same game, just with some improvements for PlayStation 5. We also have Ninja Gaiden Master Collection out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And for the most prestigious award in video game focused morning shows, your favorite segment within a segment within a segment, today's name of the morning goes to Chicory, A Colorful Tale, out on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC.
All right, so I'm a little thrown off. It's Thursday, and you didn't have 487 out today's?
Welcome to E3 week.
Really? They all hold it back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's like a total of 12 games out this whole week.
Oh my god!
Because everyone's like, I'm not releasing right before all this, these big announcements for E3. No way.
Well, fine. I mean,
but Chicory, Colorful Tale's like, out of the way, coming through. Ahoy, mateys.
I've seen some sort of version of this game before, which is kind of surprising because I don't play a lot of video games, right? So the fact that when I was retweeting this, which you can find at WatchGMS on Twitter, it was surprising that I actually at least recognize this game. But
nice.
I don't know much more about it than that. You can follow us on Twitter at WatchGMS. We always appreciate that. And if you miss any of the Gaming Morning Show Morning Gaming News, well, the first thing you can do is search
hashtag GMS Morning Gaming News.
But you can also be here in the 8 o'clock hour when we do the Gaming Morning Show Morning Gaming Re-News, where we recap all the headlines of the day. Sean does this every single show around 6:30. So please join us if